This is James Adams with My Humble Electrician, where we believe that success is a symptom of good relationships. Today's video is going to be titled something along the lines of the budget-friendly, or let's be real, the cheaper alternative to the Generac backup generator system. So we're going to cover a option that is UL listed, code compliant, as a way to side skirt the crazy cost of Generac. Let me start out by saying, I love Generac. We've installed a lot of Generacs. We've installed a lot of Generac automatic transfer switches. You might have heard that word thrown around. And it's a great solution for 100% backup for a house in the event of a power outage. It automatically turns on, it's hands-free. Super cool. Enough marketing and advertising on that. We'll cover that in another video. So just so you know, it's not a bash on Generac. Generac's awesome. What we do want to cover is alternatives, because your average generator backup system like Generac with its automatic transfer system, within city limits, a whole bunch of other variables, most of those costs are going to come down to somewhere in the vein of $12,000 all the way up to about $20,000 to $25,000 after you're all said and done, getting everything upgraded and installed, and all the equipment costs, the generator cost, plumbing cost, yada yada yada. It's an awesome system. It's automatic. But if you're not one of those people who has an extra $12,000 to $25,000 set in your bank account to either finance it or just throw at it to pay it off instantly, this video is definitely for you. It'd be for me too. So manual transfer switch system. Just like it sounds, it's manual, it's not automatic. It requires slightly more effort from you, but not a whole lot. Generac's going to give you 100% backup capability for your entire house, which means basically when it kicks on, you get 100% of your house. This method is going to give you about, 90% of your house. But for most of us in an emergency, that's more than adequate for 2 or 3 days. It's great. Great option. At the end, we'll talk about the price difference. Price difference is insane. So let's start out with this. This right here is what you would see on the outside of your house. You might have seen this house before. It's been in a few of our videos. We're in the middle of wrapping it up. But like with any custom home, there's new ideas as we go along. And we adapt and we figure out ways to keep adding in these new ideas with our client. Client's an awesome guy. We might do a video later with him if he's up for it. His name's Jason. Super cool dude. This right here is called a generator inlet box. Nothing fancy. It's a male end of a plug is what it looks like. You plug your generator into it. Get your generator wheeled out, the same kind of generator you use for camping with your RV or anything like that. Generator gets plugged up, plugged into this little outlet right here, and you start your generator up, and now your house has 90% of all its power needs met. So that's super cool. What do you think about that, Robert?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah? Robert might be wondering, but James, if that's the male end of a plug, doesn't that make a dead man plug, or what we call a suicide plug that's always hot and somebody could touch it and then die? That's a great question. Or better yet, James, if the generator is turned on and the utility power turns back on, how are we not backfeeding the utility company and making it dangerous? And we're violating code and doing so many unsafe things. Great questions. Let's answer that actually real quick. Follow me. There is a way that we can do this and meet code. There's companies out there who make UL listed parts for being able to do this. See, here we got cool stuff as we're walking through this deck. This lake is all going to get cut out, and go underneath the deck. It's going to be super cool. Got our awesome door that's been in a couple of videos, I think. Tons of cool lighting going on. We're going to go up these stairs and look at what we had to do to the panel. And we do have to install a very specific part. It has to meet very specific requirements and is UL listed for this application to make this all work safely. This space is super cool. We'll cover it in another video. We got downstairs, upstairs, all this other cool stuff. Let's get in here real quick. Robert, take a look at this. This is a product that's made by a company called Interlock. It is a UL listed part that allows us to manually, for our manual system, see what we did there, it allows me to actually physically block off this breaker right here. So this is all the required signage that we need to have on here that's basically telling you what it is, what this breaker is, what this part is, where the generator inlet box is, and a fancy sticker on how to operate it. And we'll go through that super quick and just read it word for word so you can see how simple this system is. So in this case, we installed a 30 amp. They make them generator inlet box traditionally in 30 amp and 50 amp. 50 amp is better, but in this case we went with a 30 because his generator that he has already is smaller. So what this does is this manually prevents the generator breaker from getting turned on if the main breaker that controls all of this branch circuiting is turned on. The minute I turn this off, let's make people upset to just do it. Ah, would you look at that? We turned it off and this thing falls down. So the breaker's turned off, which means I can turn my generator breaker on. Once I've got it plugged in and it's running and I come up here and turn this on, now I'm turning this into the new version of this. And it's allowing power to go up. But James, I see breakers in here that are way bigger than 30. You're right. So in this, it actually states, we'll read it in a second, that you have to turn off all high load circuits. So anything that's bigger than, basically, in layman's terms, anything that's bigger than your generator breaker, you have to turn it off. So we've got 60s here. We've got 30, other 30s. If we had a 50, we could keep one or two of those on. We turn all those off, but I can leave everything else on. So basically all of the plugs and lights in my entire house still work off of just the generator. Every plug in every bedroom, every plug in the kitchen, refrigerators, freezers, things we don't want to lose food in, all those things can stay on. Generally, in some cases, we can keep the air conditioning and heating system on if you have natural gas in your house because they're not running electrically. Your AC units are, your outside condensing units are, but your heaters being gas, typically your ACs are going to be within a range on a 50 amp breaker that if we have one, we can usually keep the whole system on. If it's a fully electric house, that's that 10% that we lose is your air conditioning and heating. And you're like, James, but that's the biggest one. If it's summertime, you know, I want my AC to be working. Or if it's wintertime, like we had snowvid here in Texas, what we nicknamed it, you know, how do I keep my heaters going? That's a great question. So what we do is, once I tell you the price on all this compared to a automatic system, you'll see where we're going. This is about conserving budget to be able to have something in the event of an emergency. We're not talking about running the house like this all the time. We're talking about running this for a day to maybe a week max. Okay, at that point, you can head over to the store, Costco, you know, Sam's Club, Walmart, Target, wherever you want to go, and buy a regular space heater and buy 2 or 3 of them for like less than $100 and just plug them into the bedrooms. Because again, all your bedroom plugs are working. And you're like, yeah, but then it can get too hot. I get it. For us high maintenance people, this is a first world problem. You can go onto Amazon and buy a 120 volt plug-in thermostat that works just like your Christmas tree timer. And you just plug it into one of the wall outlets, plug your heater into it, and turn the little dial or the digital buttons and set the temperature you want. So when the heater gets too hot, the room gets too hot, and it tells the thermostat to turn that little heater off. And it just goes back and forth like kind of a quick, we won't use any of the derogatory terms, a quick way to be able to control heating within a certain range. And you can also get portable AC units for fairly inexpensive. So let's get this guy turned back off, because now you see that we can't put it back up. So we can't put the utility back on until the generator is off. So we turn that off, this guy slides up, and then we turn that back on. So that is our safety measure that prevents us. It's going to prevent us from being able to turn on both the utility power and our generator power at the same time. And it also keeps safe the generator inlet plug that's outside, so we're not making it hot or unsafe. All UL listed products. All right, cool. Let's step out of this closet and talk cost. Here's where we're at on cost. So cost-wise, this is the part where I say that this is the budget-friendly or a cheaper alternative to being able to have some kind of backup system in your house without having to break the bank at $12,000 to $25,000 for these Generac installs. If you're not on that short list of people on this planet who can afford that out of pocket or afford to finance it, then this is definitely a solution for you to have 90% of your house working and being able to plug in AC, heat, and do whatever you want to temporarily until the emergency is over without having to break the bank. Well, James, how much are we talking? Literally, I had very few, if any, of these installations with all materials and labor included exceed $1,000. Very, very few. So you have my cost of somewhere between $600 and $1,000, somewhere in there, for this complete installation with all the parts, everything included, and the only thing that you need to buy is a portable construction generator for an RV. It's either a 30 amp or a 50 amp, 50 amp being better. And then at that point, all you have to keep in your garage is 3 or 4 tanks of propane tanks, the same ones that you use for your gas grill. They're dual fuel, so they do take gasoline. Most of them do take gasoline and propane. The reason I typically recommend to my clients to go with propane and not gas is because the gasoline, when you store it in your hot garage, does have a shelf life, whether that's a month to 2 or 3 months before all the ethanol and everything that makes gasoline combustible and awesome, it stops being effective or useful. So I usually recommend for storage purposes, for emergency, propane tanks. And you just take it out, you screw it into the propane tank just like you would your grill, and you get everything turned on with your generator and you're back off and running with your house. So that's all we have for this video. It's kind of a long video. They'll probably, cut and chop it. The editing team's pretty awesome that way. And we'll figure out how to make this work. But again, the premise and the title of this video is the budget-friendly alternative to a Generac or other automatic generator transfer switch system. So lots of perks, lots of value there. And again, this is for an emergency situation. And so really what we're trying to do is preserve what we have and have some way to heat and cool our house and keep the lights on. And so this definitely satisfies that while also saving you anywhere from $11,000, $14,000 all the way up to $24,000, and you can keep it in your garage. So easy, super cool solution as an alternative that's a bit more budget friendly. So that's all for now. This is James Adams and Robert, who's on camera. James Adams with My Home Electrician, where we believe that success is a symptom of good relationships. I hope you have a fantastic day.